Mustangs. I am visiting with you today at my sister's farm. And I wanted to show you something cool that my sister Kathy has. Kathy has a bee yard, which means she keeps bees. And this is my sister Kathy. Thanks for visiting with us today. And this word says apiary. And that's the fancy science word for someone who keeps bees. And the place where the bees live, the apiary has hives. So Kathy's been kind enough today to put on her bee suit and tell us about her apiary. Okay, here's Kathy, and here are her beehives. She has 2 beehives, and this hive right here is the one she's going to tell us about today. Kathy, why does it look like a box?
It looks like a box because the bees live inside of here. Now, the bees aren't here yet. My bees are going to come next week from another farm. I'm going to have about 10,000 honeybees here. And I'm so excited. I can't wait till they get here. But in the meantime, I've been working to get ready for them to make their box. So this is what they're going to live in. The top part of the box comes off like that. And the first thing you see is a tray. We'll fill this up with sugar water, and that'll be food for the bees until they can gather enough from the flowers. And then if we take this one off, this box has frames inside that have plastic right here, and the bees will build their honeycomb right here on top of this plastic. They'll make it out of wax that they make themselves from the honey and the pollen that they gather from flowers. And they'll lay their eggs in there, and then they'll make honey to feed the colony. Bees are so cool because they live in a family called a colony. And every colony has one queen and thousands of worker bees, and all the worker bees are girls. I think that is so cool. And then there are drones too. That's another kind of bee. But the worker bees are the ones that do all the work. They go out from the hive and find the flowers and gather the nectar and the pollen. And do you know why they do that? They gather nectar and pollen so that they can make honey to feed their family all through the winter. But we're so lucky because they make too much and they can share it with us. And that's why we get to have honey on our tables. And that's what I'm excited about. And the important thing about bees is when they go out to a flower to gather pollen and nectar, they drop some on the flowers close by. And that's called transferring pollen or pollination. That helps the plants make seeds and fruits. So we need bees. We need bees to make all the crops and all the plants grow. Not just your flowers, but the farm crops like corn and wheat and soybeans and apples and almonds and strawberries, and anything that you eat that comes from a plant needs a bee to help it pollinate. So bees are really important.
Cool. Now, how do bees fly into this fancy box?
Isn't this funny? They come in this tiny little hole right here. All the bees, there will be 10,000 bees, and they come and go through this tiny little hole.
Wow. That's so cool. That's very neat. Now, tell us about your instruments and tools that you have to wear at your apiary.
Well, you see I've got this big suit on that covers my whole body, except for my hands. I have gloves too. But the reason I wear this is because you probably know that bees can sting and it hurts. But what you may not know is it hurts us, but it kills the bee. If they have to sting, it kills them. And they only do that if they feel like their life is in danger or if they're protecting their hive, their home. So when I come out to check on them and make sure that they're healthy, they're afraid I'm going to bother their home, so they may try to sting me. That's why I have the suit on. They can't sting through the suit.
That's amazing.
Yes. And I have some tools that help me when I want to really open the hive up and look at the bees and make sure that they're healthy and make sure that the queen is happy so she lays eggs. I can use a smoker. We light a little fire inside of here and squeeze this thing, and it makes smoke, and the smoke just calms the bees down. They get real sleepy and calm, and then I can move the hive and open it up, and it doesn't bother them as much. They're not as worried. And I can just brush them off. If they get in the way, I can just brush them off with a soft brush. It's kind of amazing.
Now, the day that you get honey from the hive, will you smoke the bees
Yes.
until they're calm, and then you'll scrape the honey off?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And so to get the honey, I'll just pull those frames out that we showed you earlier and take them to another part of my farm and scrape the honey off.
Wow. So on your farm, you have lots of things that bloom
We do.
that the bees will come and get the pollen and bring it right back to the hive.
And what you can't see from here is we have a big garden, big vegetable garden. So we're counting on the bees to help us with the vegetable garden, just like they're going to help us with some honey.
Have people been keeping bees for a long, long time?
For a very, very long time. People learned years and years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, that bees were important in helping the plants grow. So to make it easier for the bees, we build them these hives, and we take care of them just like we would other farm animals.
That's amazing.
Even though they're teeny tiny.
That is amazing.
Did you know a honeybee is not as big as a gummy bear? They're little bitty.
Wow. That is amazing.
And you may see them in your yard. They're mostly orange and they have black stripes on them. And they love flowers. They love dandelions. And you may see one in your yard. You may even have stepped on one. And if you did, I'm sorry, because it probably hurt.
Wow. Well, I learned so much today. I hope everybody else did too. Thank you, Kathy, for showing us your beehive and your bee yard.
Thanks for coming to the farm.
Thank you.